Okay, day 121, the DynCorp harvest. What I said yesterday about Hillary kind of maintaining an enemies list ever since Arkansas, that's not new to Hillary. I mean, the military has maintained enemies lists for basically every country that the DoD and CIA is active in. The idea being you want to be proactive. You want to have a list of people that are to be taken out day one. So you don't want to wait until the conflict and then try to start deciding that. The other ideas have been added to that with Petraeus and others is the counterinsurgency, which is go ahead and start degrading your opposition before an armed conflict ever occurs. So these are political targets now. Shut them out of opportunities in the society, make things difficult for them on their taxes, procuring a business, or whatever it is. And you can use ground forces to disturb their events. You can set their business on fire, or even much smaller things and so forth. So the idea here is that DynCorp is using, you don't have to be in power. This is the key thing I wanted to say, is you don't have to be in power to have a group like Otpor who is doing disruption. For right now, George Soros is doing MoveOn.org with this Resistance Week, having these unions go in and bust up these congressional people that are going home for recess. So, and the idea is that if the CIA is doing this on 191 countries, what are they doing for the United States? Well, it turns out that DynCorp is in managing that program as well in the United States, and so that's the key thing. The problem is when you have this friend or foe type analysis, everyone is either put in the basket of friend or foe, and then everything that person owns, if he's an enemy, becomes fair game. You can do virus and vaccine testing on them. You can kill them. You can traffic their kids. You can traffic their wife. You can harvest their organs. When you start looking at in policing in a militaristic point of view, which DynCorp teaches, everything becomes either friend or foe, and all spoils of war become fair game. And again, DynCorp just has shown that over and over again: Bosnia, Kosovo, Afghanistan, Iraq, or Haiti, Sudan, Congo, you name it. I could go on, and Central America. So again, it's not just a list. This is all the electronic information that PRISM collects. These are all your electronic chats and so forth, web pages you go to. And as I talked about before, Jobs went kicking and screaming as the last person to give up that information. It's not just electronic information surveillance. It's physical, geophysical surveillance. So here, I mentioned this before, but these are these little cube satellites. By deploying these in a low Earth orbit, you can get a lot more information geospatially about people, where you can dust things that their cars, their homes, even their clothes, so that you can know where people are 7 by 24. India just launched a couple of days ago a satellite that put 104 of these out in space. So the previous record was 37 by Russia. So these last couple of years. Sometimes you can even put them up for a couple of days or weeks, and they work in a kind of a layered concept. So you have these CubeSats at a low altitude. You can have drones at even lower altitude, and you can have planes, all feeding information up to these bigger satellites, so that there's a readout in Colorado, at Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado, where NORAD is located, where you actually see everyone. You can turn on and off. You say, okay, I want to see people who are Ron Paul supporters, and then you can see a map of where they are. Okay, just people, Ron Paul supporters going to the rally in Dallas, that type of thing. And then you can send in your snipers or whatever to disrupt them, or however you want to react to the situation. It's all managed by Palantir. As I mentioned, that Promise software told me all my political opponents, what their criminal records were, where their bank accounts were, the property they owned, and so forth. Palantir adds real-time geospatial information, and that is effective if you're in terms of wartime. When you go in with an insurgent team, you know right where to go. At every moment, you know where your enemy is. And that's through the use of these tag ants. So this is my Denver slide. The focus always has to be on these operations, because the operations will tell you where the footprints are. And this operation, the Cheyenne Mountain one, again written by David Petraeus, is the operation for taking the kids of the enemy is Operation Underground Railroad. And this is going to be the same operation in Central America, Afghanistan, Iraq, Bosnia, Kosovo, and so forth. So they come up with these operations to basically handle the different pieces. So there's going to be a different one, I think, for organ harvesting. Operation Underground Railroad is going to be the worldwide global program for using targets of children of targets. There's going to be another one, JTTF, for targeting people that are, like myself, journalists, etc., that are not necessarily agreeing with the party line. So that's it for this morning, and I'll have more this afternoon.